Welcome to week one playoff. I don't have my sound effects hooked up, whatever. So, anyways, hey Rob, just right now I just looked up the scores because I'm not gonna pay attention to anybody's score if I'm not in the playoffs. But man, both these games are really close.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Three total points, Sam. Three total points.
Yes. Um,
That's about as close as you get. Well, I guess you get to where it's like zero and they're both tiebreakers.
yeah.
My game was almost a tiebreaker, so we'll
Now,
see.
you know what? Let's talk about your game now. Were you personally yourself on an emotional roller coaster during the weekend?
Well, I don't know if I would call it an emotional roller coaster. I was hoping to win, and I put out my best team, and I mean, I kind of at one point on Sunday kind of thought I was out of it, and then he just kind of came back to me, and I mean, we basically had a big swing there. George Kittle 17 and the Cleveland Browns at -9. And they got me within 18 points going into Monday at a little Drew Brees, Michael Thomas showdown there. And, things worked out pretty good. So by the end of it, yeah, I'd say I was up at I mean, what's the best part of the roller coaster? At the very top? I guess I was like at the end there, where you're like, wow, that was fun. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I guess so.
for sure. And like you mentioned, Cleveland Browns -9 and Emmanuel Sanders 0. You
Yeah, let's
know,
break it down here. I mean, we got two games, so we'll give each team about 5 minutes. The new Denver quarterback's coming in. That was all in one game there. And I was, we watched the majority of it. I did take about a 2-hour break on Sunday because I was kind of like, I can't sit here and watch football all weekend. So, yeah, Tannehill and Watson rolling out there in the same game. And it was a very slow start for those guys. They turned the ball over a couple times. And then, dear God, it just started rolling in the second half to where you can see the 32-21. And, and then he had prime, this new Denver here, prime running back matchups. So you can look at that right there, 37 and 30 for Nick Chubb and Saquon Barkley. That's probably more than Barkley did in the entire month of November, correct?
Yep.
And Godwin went out with an injury. I was like, dude, Detroit, dude, that's a sad football team. And then, then it kind of started, and that was all in the morning, interestingly enough, outside Nick Chubb. And, he had Bucker, but then it kind of started to slow down for him in the afternoon. Emmanuel Sanders got shut out. He put up 47 last week. This week he comes in and puts up 0. That's San Francisco offense. They're kind of hard to figure, right? And, you don't want to second guess, and I certainly don't want to pile on the guy, but Cleveland and Arizona or Buffalo on Sunday night against Pittsburgh against a third-string quarterback. Cleveland's not a very good team, right?
No.
And Buffalo's, I mean, that's kind of the difference there. So that kind of opened the door up, right?
Yeah.
You see anything else there? I mean, other than that, he did a great job on his roster. It's just, I mean, he's going to probably rue a little bit. Yeah, why didn't I go Buffalo? But, yeah, he didn't. So I'm not complaining. The flip side of it, we'll skip Drew Brees here for a second. But, Russell Wilson ended up with 25 points. He had 22 at halftime of that game. And then, God damn, Dalvin Cook just nothing. Got injured again. Aaron Jones was nice. Galladay, nothing. Did I mention that Detroit is a lame football team? I mean, just pitiful performance there. Tyreek Hill, he's a stud in the snow. Speaking of that, Patrick Mahomes didn't play this week, did
he? Yes.
In our league. That guy, I think Patrick Mahomes at this point, I do believe he is weatherproof. I mean, it's a freaking blizzard. He's chucking off 50-yard touchdowns, so. And, very interesting thing about that game, Tyreek Hill was the first score of the day between us, and it was a 41-yard touchdown, and that looked like it was going to loom mighty large going into Monday Night Football because that was going to be the tiebreaker. Kittle got it going, and then so we go into Monday night, and he's got 18, and Michael Thomas gets his, and he's up, and he's got 130, and then Drew Brees, I think Michael put it best, he's chasing records, and it was just a real interesting play. I was like, he was sitting there at about 286 passing yards, and and he was on the 25-yard line, something like that. And I go, God, if he throws it here, I was down. This would have been just enough to tie me up. I would have gotten the 9, then I would have got moved into the bonus. And sure enough, he threw it to Taysom Hill or whatever, and he runs it in, and we were at 161. And then what's funny about it is that Michael Thomas is sitting on 130 yards there, right? And I think Drew Brees was at 309. but he's at 28 to 29 on the passing. He needs 29 out of 30 to set the all-time record, right? So on the 30th pass of the game, the 29th completion, he throws a 2-yard pass, a pass about 2 yards over there, and gets a loss for Michael Thomas. Takes Michael Thomas down to 128 yards, which takes him from, I find this funny, takes him from 26 points to 24 points, and Gang Green wins 161-159. How is that for excitement, Sam?
Boom. Fantasy football, folks. That's how it works. And again, like my story from week 1 about that Josh Jacobs run, which I needed him to make 2 points for me, and the Raiders are up. No reason for them to run at all. No reason for them. They hand the ball off to him. He got 12 points, 12 yards, and that wanted me. Fantasy football. That's how it goes, folks.
What's crazy about it is you think about all these things, and I went back and forth. I was very close to dropping Russell Wilson and looking at Garoppolo. It seemed like a prime matchup, and I studied all weekend. Like this is like 9:45 in the morning. I was still thinking about that. And at the end of the day, you just kind of. James White was James White or Aaron Jones. I was going to run Dalvin Cook all day, and you make these decisions, and you put your roster out there. And what's weird about it, and especially in this next game we're going to talk about here in just a second, is all these things go into it, and all these little variant decisions and players and the way it goes out, and you get a game that's like literally tied Monday night at 8:15. And it's bizarre how close these games are, right?
Yeah.
And it's just. It's a decision here, decision there, but I believe in the butterfly effect. Had I dropped Russell Wilson, we would be having a completely different conversation in life right now, right?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Don's a great competitor, great team. He beat me both times, and bad this year. So I'll take it, 161, 159. That's there's no shame in either side of it, but I'm going to move on. So.
Yep.
And good luck to Don. And I love Don. He's a great competitor, great player. He's been with me since the beginning in this. So it's it's a mutual respect for each other. I got him this time. So there we go.
All right, let's talk about TB12 the Great versus Degenerate Bastard. Another close one, 157 to 158.
Okay, now this game's a little different here because this is the game where Degenerate is sweating it till the ending. Now, I'm going to point out here, I think Degenerate, as we are wont to do, he's a long, long time player, and sometimes we can make these games a little bit harder on ourselves. If you look at his bench here, it's a ballsy move to bench Devontae Adams. I don't know, man. It's Devontae Adams instead of Robert Woods instead of Devontae Adams. But then again, he makes the right call on A.J. Brown, so he's rolling it all out there. Kyle Sanders not running against Washington. He's going with, Leonard Fournette, who doesn't score touchdowns, right? So he might have, I think you got to do a little bit of groupthink on this one. And absolutely no offense, Michael. It's your team. I know how these decisions are made. You're making the best thing you can. But sometimes we're all guilty of overanalyzing things, right?
Yep.
And, and I've always had a theory, dude. I tell Nolan this all the time, it's just, dude, ride your horses, man. It's like, I looked at that weather and I thought for a second with Tyreek Hill, I'm like, man, I don't know. It's bad. And I just went, dude, I didn't draft Tyreek Hill to sit his ass on the bench because it's cold, right? So, you just kind of go with it. So, so it's a long way of saying, Michael, dude, I think he had a peak of, they show his best possible score on here is like 244. Damn. So his team just blew it up all over the place. So, but, he just kind of a couple decisions here and there, and a couple things played out a little bit. He kind of, allowed TB12, who I think was a little overmatched talent-wise in this game, as far as, the quality of players on the team. To kind of hang around a little bit, and it sure made for an exciting game. No one has broken it down to me in about 20 ways how Michael won this game, but I think the funnest way is there's a total garbage play at the end of the Philadelphia Eagles-Washington game, right? Mm-hmm. And it ends up, it's a fumble and a touchdown recovery, on a horrific pitch by Washington, lateral, and, Philly picks it up, runs it in. And that takes them from 0 to 13. And that's about as good of any way as looking at it, right? That's that's your 158 to 157 right there. Buffalo, I mean, my Lord, they needed one more sack that night. They needed there's a play where they were running down the field and probably should have gotten a pick six on it. They had 4 interceptions where they just couldn't get it in. So, breaking it down here, though, go ahead.
Julian Edelman, 0 of New England. I mean, what happened to him,
So. Yeah, well, he's hurt, man. I mean, we're not sure about that. I mean, Patrick here in this situation, it seemed like he maybe got a little comfortable with his Patriots here in this situation with James White and Edelman. Edelman's broken at this point. So, but I mean, again, though, he's your horse. You're going to run him out there. Kittle did well. Breaking it down, though, real quick. I mean, Garoppolo, not a good performance at all. And, it's probably a fallback down to earth game for San Fran. But I don't know. That team, I wonder about them. That offense is just all over the place. You just never know. McCaffrey was huge. McCaffrey's been huge every game this year. James White had all 15 of those points came on all but one of them came on the opening drive. New England's really good at scoring on the opening drive and then not doing much the rest of the game until the defense gets involved. Keenan Allen, Julian Edelman, just poor performance out of the wide receivers. George Kittle saved him, but no touchdowns. Buffalo, man, 29, blowing it up. On the other side, Dak Prescott and Ryan Tannehill who knew that Ryan Tannehill was going to be a force in the fantasy championships this year? What do you think?
That contract year, right?
Well, yeah, and maybe, he had moments there, and he had a lot of moments there in Miami, like where he looked like he's going to be pretty good. And maybe Tannehill wasn't the whole problem because I don't know if you noticed, but Miami kind of sucks, right? So, Chris Carson, dude, 38 points, and he's got another prime matchup coming this week against Arizona. Let's see how that weather goes in Seattle. I'm kind of curious on that myself. Fournette's just not going to score this year. That's just how it goes, right? He's just not going to score. And then AJ Brown, dude, that guy. When I see him on the field, he looks like a big fat guy. I can't tell, but no one tells me he's not. So I don't know, But he's a good player. I believe he's a rookie, if I'm not mistaken. DeAndre Hopkins. That's another prime matchup going this week up against Tampa Bay. And Robert Woods, I don't know. It's who knows? Maybe he hates Dallas. And then the Eagles were good, but he's sitting there with the Minnesota Vikings at 44 points. Oof. As much fun as I'm having second guessing because that's what I get to do. I understand that, but it's the Eagles against Washington Redskins or the Vikings on the road against San Diego /LA/London Chargers. I mean, come on, that's a no-brainer. You go with the Eagles in that situation, right? Yeah. So, dude, I swear he's got a championship quality team, and it's the quietest of ways to get there, but he's kind of got it going now. So it's going to be him and Tay this weekend, huh?
Him and Tay. So let's analyze that for a second. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, as always, it's going to be a complete variant on what the rosters actually end up looking like. But going with it right now, hell, back of the bat, they both kind of got guys that I have. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I want to say I'm gonna go. I like
that close, huh?
Dude, it's tough, man, because I'm looking down there at the wide receivers for the back of the bat, and he's got some injury issues there that he's well aware of, and we'll see what he rolls out there. And you got to hit on those guys, On the other side. Degenerate's got some nice matchups at the wide receiver position. I mean, Devontae Adams, he's got DeAndre Hopkins rolling out there against Tampa. Let's see if Tampa can keep up. I mean, they're losing their wide receivers, but got running backs, Dalvin Cook, he's a question mark, and unfortunately it's a Monday night game. You're not even going to be able to play off that. Trust me, I know. Quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, man, going up against Cleveland, that could be the difference, but we'll see what he's got Michael's got Dak Prescott going outdoors in the cold out there. They're both playing outdoors, but Dak doesn't run as much as Lamar, so
yeah.
Whew, it's going to be close. If I'm looking at just these teams, I got this as a pick 'em, man.
Ooh, there we go. And on the other side, the Gang Green versus El Oso Verde. What do you think?
Yeah, a little father-son showdown here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of those here in the playoffs. I was thinking about it. I go, it's Michael and Cody played one time in the conference championship game, and I me's just how hard it is to line these things up. Looking at it on paper, it's Elo Silverde. I don't really want to comment on this game, to be honest with you, Sam.
Let me do it. Let me do it.
But hold on. Let me just tell you one thing, and then I'll let you do it. Right now, by the way the quarterbacks look, that's four. That's about as good as you're ever going to see in a conference championship game. I mean, those four guys going against each other.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I said, the last few weeks, Alonso Verde looks human. I mean, with 160, you could beat him. These last few weeks, he hasn't had like strong numbers since mid season. So I'm just going off of that. How that's going, and he has a strong team. Don't get me wrong, Rob. I'm not saying you're a sure bet. I'm just saying he looks human.
Well, he does, but he's got some. His running backs are better than mine at this point, no question. And and it's just going to kind of come down to, really what goes on at the quarterback position up there. And Mahomes going into Chicago is going to be interesting, but like I said, he's weatherproof. Personally, I think he's got me, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to roll it out there and see if I can take a run at it. I'm willing to try at least, right?
Yeah. No, it should be great. And waiver wires, are we going? Who's in order first?
It's Eloso and back of the bat running one, and then 1-2, and
Gotcha.
If they win out, they get number one. Whoever wins this week will have number one going into next week. And we're going to keep it a Thursday night, so I don't have to screw up with the software that I got about perfect right now.
Yep.
Because, we got free agent wire open after that, Sam. So.
Yep. All right. Well.
Good luck, boys. Good luck.
Good luck to everybody still in it. For Rob, I'm Sam. Thanks for tuning in, people.
Thanks, Sam.